Even though I gotta make myself do things, I'm gonna make myself do it while being silly. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to ARTBOX. Today's guest is none other than yours truly, Dr. T. Neal. Me. I'm the guest. It's been a really long time since I have recorded an episode, and I wanted to get this one out a long time ago because this is the final episode of season 1. And I wanted to just reflect a bit and go over some of the things that this show has kind of brought up, some of the things I've learned. But in between there, I got really busy. So it's been a really long time since I put out an episode, and I wanted to get back to it, but we got to end the first season. So I wanted to talk about why there's been a long absence, some of the difficulties that are I'm faced with when it comes to recording these episodes and my other projects like videos and movies. Mainly the audio is impossible to get away with here at home. It's such a small like apartment. If you've seen my art videos, you'll know like it's really hard to get away with a moment of silence. So that's one of the main reasons, plus all the projects. Um, tons of life stuff has happened. We've, been visiting family. We just had all those holidays come up. Christmas was awesome. Halloween was awesome. Uh, I think I've even had a birthday since an episode's came out. But all good things. It's all been very progressive in the right ways. After the movie that I just made came out, in November, this past November, 2025. Um, I was a bit depressed, and that probably plays into a lot of the holiday depression. Uh, man, I got swamped bad. I couldn't pick up any paint or anything, couldn't do any editing because I was just kind of beating myself up, maybe reflecting a bit too much. I think when you're online, you'll see a lot of people like reflecting on their year and everything went great, and I did have a good year. So I don't really know what I was depressed about. I think it really might have been a little seasonal. The movie and stuff went great. We'll talk about the documentary here in a minute. Um, but yeah, no more depression. We're getting the episode done. We're getting it out. Stuff I've been into. Let me just break the ice with some of the things I've been doing here at home when I'm not painting or filming something. I started watching TV shows and movies again, which I stopped doing I stopped being like a frequent viewer of movies and shows and stuff like maybe a year or two ago. And so it's been nice to just break back into it and watch stuff with my girlfriend. And um one of the movies I wanted to talk about, I guess, since I'm talking about shows and movies and stuff, is Weapons. Weapons was awesome. Just like Barbarian, Zach Krieger, I don't know how to say it. I haven't looked it up. Um he takes some turns that you just don't expect, and it's visually like appealing. It's really well shot and audio is great. I was sucked into that movie. I'm not going to ruin any of it for anybody. Sinners was also awesome, much more cinematically like developed, I guess, with the way they shot it in two different kinds of forms. You'd have to look that up. But one thing I want to say about Sinners is I can look past, I guess, like, a lot of the stuff because of the core story and like cinematography, and then the way they wrap it up is all really, really well done. It's awesome. But I couldn't kind of come up with an excuse for why there needed to be twins in the story. Like the movie goes on and like there's like a lot of elements like provided for it, you know, after you get deeper into the story, like, okay, this one's in love with this one, this guy's in love with this girl. But at the end of the day, there's like There's an A story, a B story, a C story, a D story going on, and I felt like there being twin brothers just didn't do much besides put Michael B. Jordan's face on screen twice, like twice as much. Like he's got to be one of the cool twins, but he's also got to be one of the cool vampires too. So I don't know, movie contracts and stuff like that. I'm not nitpicking or anything. I just thought it was maybe it was just cool to see. Maybe they just wanted to play around with that story a bit and do the visual because it was awesome. There's one moment where they're like smoking a cigarette next to the car and they hand it to each other, and both of them are Michael B. Jordan, and it lines up really well. But I mean, movies these days are, amazing. And I've been playing some of the same old video games, really. I play a little bit of Fortnite because that's one of the games you could pick up and like put down in 30 minutes. I've been chipping away at Skyrim for like years, so there's no real reason to talk about that. I'm a Khajiit, if anybody plays, I'm doing a little bit of the Thieves Guild this time around because I've played it before, never got this far, and I'm just done a lot of new things with this one, but I don't play games very often, so it's really slow grind. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was I went and saw a movie produced by Subject to Change Entertainment. My brother's company, they put out a documentary about a local poet who goes on tour basically throughout the movie, and you get to see his interaction with the people that know him. And that's very interesting. It's called JIB, Product of My Environment. And the JIB stands for John Ian Bush. He was in my first documentary, and we've ran in the same circles for a long time. And this past year, I've gotten to know him a lot more. We'll speak about one of those projects in a minute. And if you get the chance, you can check that out on the Subject to Change Entertainment channel. Now, one of the first things that I want to talk about that I've been up to, since I am the guest this episode, is I recently got the chance to do a full room mural, and it's Harry Potter themed. There's, man, Hogwarts on one side and Hagrid's hut on the other. There's scarves wrapping around the whole thing with trees, and it's all cast in moonlight. It's all real dark, and it's really awesome. They saw my post online, reached out, and I didn't exactly know what to do right off the rip. I gave them prices and stuff after, like, honestly, I had to talk to Ali Serpart, Priscilla Koopman, who was on an earlier episode, and she gave me some advice on paints and different things like that. Basically calmed me down. It made it a lot easier to tackle. I was able to give him a price. He was cool with it, and we got it all done. And it took me about 3 months to do, all while helping my brother film a movie. And what else were we doing? I was doing the mural, and then I had my own movie coming out. So I was doing a lot of other projects at the same time as tackling the mural project. It took a lot to get schedules to line up, and so that kind of drug it out a little bit longer. And they were really happy with it. I learned a lot of new things about murals. I learned a lot of new things about paint that I didn't know before. Um, it's different when you see things in scale, especially, having all your equipment out is it was completely different compared to how I do things here. And I'm hoping to get more murals in the future, maybe some of my own designs, some of my own characters or something. But it was a really cool opportunity. I loved being able to paint stuff from that world. I like the Harry Potter franchise. We've talked about the discrepancies with the IP on this show before, and I don't know, those books and movies just go way back with me. So the imagery was, very familiar, and it was really fun to paint. And that's what they wanted. So we got that done, and I was helping my brother film a movie at the same time, so I wanted to talk about that. It's called Rat Songs. It's written by Christopher Bailey. I think he goes by CD Bailey. You can look all this stuff up on Subject to Change Entertainment. There are different socials. I think they're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all those good ones. But this production was a couple months long as well. And that's where I got to know JIB a little more. Um, I got to see him act a lot. He was doing some acting and playing up his character, and I just really didn't know like how much poetry and like doing what he did gave him tools to be able to do different stuff on screen that I hadn't considered. Like he's much more of an artist than I knew, and it really changed my mind on uh just what you need to be so serious about and what you don't need to be so serious about. He brought his A game. Everybody did. And that's what I also want to talk about. That was my interactions with JIB. I think I also drew a picture of him on set, and I'll go ahead and put that in the episode here. It was just something in between, I think, holding the boom mics because my arms were killing me around that time with the mural, holding the boom mics. I think I did the camera around that time too, so I was just toast for that day. So I was like, I'm gonna draw for a bit. I'm gonna draw and I'll hop in, I'll do the lights. Lights are easy to do, set up and all that. And that's what I was initially brought on for, was the lighting. And I mean, I don't have like the craziest lighting setups or anything. I didn't like go through anything wild for this one. I definitely just threw it together and I want to get this episode done and get it out. So but they brought me on for lighting, for that, and I just used what I've learned over the years, like the past 2 years really, about lighting, and, I think it went really well. I guess we'll see. The movie's not out yet. Vinny's color grading it and all that, so I trust him, and, I think it's gonna come out awesome. But, yeah, the lighting went well. I got to meet all these different actors. I got to meet Savannah, Brandon, T, they're the three main characters in the movie, and they all did great. They got along really well. It was cool to see like people who hadn't met come together and just have like chemistry. It like felt like they were all felt like everybody just knew each other. And that's kind of the really cool thing about being on set in general is just the 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 bonds that form and, getting to know different things about them. I went to the cast parties and everything. I got to go to, like, everything I could. I I went to all the shoots I could, which I only missed, like, a few, I think. Uh, the after party and the showing. Or I will be at the showing. I'm going to that. They also had, great makeup and they had a phenomenal crew as well, all kinds of people that I'd never met before, and I think they were all kinda new to the situation as well, with us doing, like, newer film stuff in the area. Each project brings on somebody who's like, "Yeah, I've never been in front of the camera and stuff," so and it goes so well every time. Everybody does so well, especially if they're willing to jump in and do stuff like doing boom mics and things like that. Michael, everybody, they all did great. I can't name everybody on this podcast, but the point is the production went super smooth and we're in post production now. I just did animations for it, so lighting and animations, little assisting on stuff, and I did their poster. That will be coming out at the end of probably this month. This episode should be out before then. I hope it is. Rat Songs will be showing on February 21st at the Portsmouth Cinema. So that's our big movie theater here in town. We've shown at a different movie theater before, but nothing quite like this. So this should be a very interesting event. Um, One last thing about Rat Songs was lots of good memories with everybody. My brother getting wrapped up and acting as the dead body while I held the camera and stuff was really fun. Just getting to see everybody have a good time and not get hurt. That was kind of the main thing. Not trying to drop Vinny, but he's a soldier. And yeah, just getting to chat with everybody was a really good time. Watching them do different stunts with, technically stunts, like if somebody has to chug a gallon of chocolate milk, which basically is what happened. And, and uh, watching how that goes, I'll let you see the movie. But yeah, it was an overall good time. By the time we had finished filming that movie, that is when my documentary was coming out. And that was the biggest project that made me take a step back from doing the podcast and other art videos because my edit bay was just full of this movie, this documentary. And I had promised myself I would be doing it. So I was filming ever since my first documentary, which is also about me, all the way into this new documentary, which is about me, and it branches into a lot of other directions. I'll get into that in a second. But it took up so much space on my computer. This was the only thing that I could do. Like, I couldn't download other programs that I needed to do special effects for it and stuff that I had planned. And, it just, like, kinda consumed my whole life for those, like, 6 months. And, the movie is about me, the internet, creativity, the people I meet along the way, and even the show, it shows up in the movie. It's chronologically about my life. So each time I've done the documentaries, I write them out. I write it like it's gonna be like a script, like this is what I'm gonna do this month, and then I kind of just like write down what did happen. And I kind of fill in the blanks until I get to the ending that I kind of start to figure out by the end of when I'm gonna be done filming, I guess. It's kind of hard to figure out, but it kind of shows itself to you after you start chipping away at editing and writing and you're looking at all your footage and you're like, what's the story here? And if you have, each documentary I think needs to have a goal, a purpose, so you kind of already know that's gonna be the journey through my documentary. I have a goal basically to become a professional creative, find a career in a creative field. And, it hits some really good points. I'm not gonna, pat myself on the back too much about it. I'll let you watch it and figure it out for yourself. But the movie's really fun and creative. I got to get a lot of help on post production, which was crazy. Um, First, I worked with Austin, the lemon squid. We wrote I reached out to people to see if they wanted to fill a spot, if they wanted to like show off their creative skills, spotlight something that they wanted, had an interest in, but it had to fit the movie too. So we'd work together and we just write it out. And Austin, he came up with an old cereal commercial. He wanted it to be a parody kind of like older commercials, like older cereal commercials, but mainly focus on making it something like eerie. And we definitely did that. It doesn't like represent like a parody of old cereal commercials, but we did do something that I would like to coin as the flavor blast. You see it in every like edible commercial that's targeted towards kids, I think. Because now that I'm thinking about it, well, they're cereal, so they take the bite, camera zooms in, graphics start happening. And I think I've seen it in candy and stuff like that too, Airheads, all these kinds of things. So we did that with what I had. Nothing quite as impressive as Airheads. But he killed that. He did awesome. Came up with a great idea and it fit right into the story. And then I worked on Vinny's with him. And he was just kind of like all ears to like what the pitch could be. So I told him, I was like, here's like 5 things that like I came up with. And if you want to do one, we can do that. Cause that was the plan in general, is to just work with them. And and I know it's a lot to like ask somebody to write a whole like skit or something like that just out of nowhere. But he liked the idea of doing a parody of kind of Better Help commercial. It kind of derails with this CEO type vibe where he is the spokesperson for Better Jargon. And oh my gosh, this guy, my brother, let me tell you, I said that these moments are supposed to spotlight what they do. So he's a, bit of a comedian, basically. He's a bit of an actor comedian. His niche is absurd comedy. So I told him, just do that, do what you do. And he did what he did. That was probably one of the funniest moments in the movie. People were laughing out loud. That was awesome. Both of their commercials came out great, and, just makes me wanna do more of them. Not only did I get to work with them, but I wanted to flesh out the rest of the movie with people, so I got a hold of everybody who's been on this podcast. Um, some of them being Songaria. He worked on, I think, 5, maybe 6 tracks for the movie. All original songs, one being a remix of me and my brother creating the movie The Magic Pen. And that song was a hit just as much as Better Jargon. I feel like this movie's better, like, not better. I feel like this movie's branded in a way I could not have predicted. It's funnier than anything I could have thought of because of the help of these people. Sonaria, uh, he he crushed it when it came to emotional songs. Those are in there. He gave me some quirky songs that I wanted. I said I wanted some sci-fi-ish like beats, and basically it was like, some like lo-fi type deal. And man, he just crushed that too. And he was awesome to work with. Me and him talked back and forth for weeks, just nailing down the songs, nailing down, like, he sent me some other tracks that I was like, I can't picture it in the movie, so we'll just focus on the ones that that do fit so far. And if you come up with more stuff, just keep sending it to me. And that's just what he did, you just kind of vibe it out. And Ali Serpart came back to do animations. I asked her if she wanted to do like anything, like, again, that's a very busy person doing their own creative stuff. She said, I think something along the lines of like, what do you need? What could you see me doing? I'll do anything, basically, is what she said. She just needed some guidance, because it's like the brainstorming part. I don't She's very busy. So I said, I got a perfect spot for you. There was just this part about nature and wanting to leave, the tech at home and get off your phones. And she gave me the perfect animation for that. I told her, go with her style, spotlight you. Let's focus on like something that you do. And she does these aquatic characters that are awesome, very flowy. And oh yeah, she added plants and stuff to it. Came out awesome. Rob Coleman, he also helped me out with the movie. He did some scoring in the, like, cinematic sections with me and the puppet, and he also filled in, sound effects, like fighting sound effects during me and the puppet's fight. You'll have to check that out to see what I'm talking about. And then, another ARTBOX alumni, Kyle McCarthy, he did an animation for me. I basically asked him, if he wanted to pitch in anything, and he said, he'd send me back something, within some time, and he hit me with exactly what I wanted, basically. I man, it's just so cool. He sent me one of his classic iconic, animations. He collaged my profile picture with, some clouds and stuff that he put in there, and it just came out awesome. It's a motion graphic that's speaking towards, a moment in the movie when I'm talking about branching out with this podcast and I'm meeting new people, and the animation plays, and it's kinda like, uh, you know, the sky's the limit kinda deal. There's good vibes at that moment in the movie, and I really loved having that. All of these pieces were phenomenal, and I wanna thank these creators here on this podcast again. I've made shorts about them. I've talked about them a whole lot. They came through for me, and they made this movie something that I didn't know it could be. So thank you. This show was an important part of the movie. One of the more pivotal things I think I've done in my creative career somehow. Just by meeting people and talking to them, it changed the way that I do my own art, the way I make my videos, the way I make my paintings, the way I think about what do I want to paint. And it's not only been important for my creative, like, journey and just my human experience, but apparently it's been beneficial to the listeners and the people who've been on it. I've gotten a lot of kind messages and a lot of very sweet comments, and I I honestly can't believe it. Like, I it's strange, um, wanting to even do a podcast, and then turns out people actually look forward to episodes. Sometimes I don't actually think about people actually listening to them. I just do them. And it's an art piece in a way. It kind of comes out. And for other people to benefit from that is just a huge eye opener to what this show could be. I don't know. And I'm just very grateful that I could do that for myself and other people. I think just talking about creativity is therapeutic for the talker and the listener maybe. One more thing to wrap up this section about the documentary, Dr. T. Neal versus himself. I know I hadn't said it yet, but I don't want to talk about myself too much in an episode about myself. So, showings with my brother and Austin. We booked 3 venues, and Austin was able to come to the first one and the last one. Vinny came in clutch, and he was the one who booked the schedule for each of the showings with all the venues. He had already talked to these people with some of the movies we and stuff that he'd done before. So I was like, hey, if you don't mind, we could do this together. And he was totally on board, and he ran the projector for me and stuff. Um, we had a lot of people come out, and we heard a lot of great things. They got to see the movie for the first time at that first showing, and they were blown away. People were infected by Get Up to Talk Things Down by Song Maria, laughing their butts off at parts that were funny and crying at the parts that were emotional because it's also an emotional movie. But I also got a lot of sweet messages about that movie. And one of them in particular, I won't name any names or put anybody on blast. I don't know if they watched the show or not. But they had just told me that they had went through all kinds of things that are, changing in their life. And this was something that they needed to see tonight. And that was just like, that's why I made it, man. That's exactly why I made it. Um, not for me, but like anything I try to make, I try to instill some values these days because I know it can carry importance. So, just the fact that they even reached out to tell me about it takes courage too. And I'm really grateful for that. And if they are watching, thank you for talking to me and telling me that you liked my projects or my movie. And if I keep talking about this too long, I'm gonna get emotional. So we're gonna move on to the next thing. The evolution of my projects and hired work before YouTube to now. Oh, way different. First off, we'll talk about skills in video. And I talk about it a lot anyways, but the beginning of this podcast, the very first episode of this podcast, even just the video aspect of it has changed a good bit. I just got better with my camera. I got better at setting my ISO and not letting my phone do autofocus because that's a freaking nightmare. So, but it's hard to do when you're the only person. So you got to reach back and click the focus. And sometimes I'll put a pillow or something where I'm going to be sitting and then I'll go do it. But I've learned a lot of things about video and audio since then. And YouTube, I guess, is what put me through the ringer. I edited for 1000. That taught me a lot. And then I just did a lot of my own stuff. And that's where a lot of the work was done. And along the way, I also had improved my painting skills. Not like just, I suppose, break it down into a few ways. One thing I noticed is sometimes I sometimes I enjoy actually drawing and aiming for the right proportions and things like that. And then sometimes I would rather just skip that step. And that's where a lot of those things like the projector comes in, which I've gotten really comfortable with. But even before that, there were things like transfer methods, using light. I did that a lot, which is almost the same thing as a projector. And but I didn't fall back on that too much because I also developed I've really been like honing in on this cartoon style that I've created for myself. Some people say it's a little bit like Cal Arts, like Adventure Time, stuff like that. But it's really just like yeah, it's a combination of everything I've watched as a kid and as an adult, and I'm trying to figure out how to bridge that and um the realism that I do too. So I've gotten it narrowed down to two styles basically, the cartoons and the realism. And then there's this like gray area where I just do like a lot of random stuff. That might happen from time to time still, but my process in regular painting, like painting faces or anything that's on a canvas, has completely changed. I started gessoing my canvases and started learning stuff about acrylic mediums. I started learning things about different acrylic paints. Like each one had been so different just from doing the mural and paintings here, cheaper paints, interior paints, those being different. And yeah, I feel like I've learned how to use equipment better. Basically, that's how it feels. I feel like I just broke them out a lot. I did a lot of painting. I think more. I've done so much painting since I started filming painting, actually, I think, than before I did. Because I would just, like, I don't know, put out pieces here and there and, not really think about needing to get back to it. But I love having that, like, thought now, like, wanting to get back to it gets me gets a lot of different things out of my head and onto the canvas that I hadn't considered, and I'm finding new ways to use those materials and subject matter, coming up with those cartoon characters. I've been doing a lot of animations. I did animations for the movie. I'm doing animations in Rat Songs. So I guess I'm becoming more comfortable with that because the Rat Songs ones is going to be full color animations. So that'll be first time I've done like objects that are moving like that. And if I have something to put in this episode for that B-roll, I will. Yeah, I've learned some new tools, some new materials, and I'm just getting better. I'm narrowing things down. I think this is some of the groundwork as like a branded artist in a way that I should have done a long time ago. Um Before that, I did a lot of the basics where you learn how to draw comic book characters and anatomy and changing like perspectives and things like that. I played with a lot of that and now I'm like once I get like some more of these other hints of like the brand, whatever, my cartoons and realism, whatever I'm gonna do there. Once I get those, I think I'm probably gonna bounce back to the basics because it's always good to keep, you know, being flexible with old techniques, new techniques, old things you learned, combining new methods. And I wasn't even necessarily looking to improve all those things. Like film, I was like I knew I wanted to get better at cameras this past year and stuff, but I guess I hadn't anticipated getting better with I think the cartoons and stuff. And I also realized some more things I don't do well. The lemon squid, huge shout out. It is impossible to draw that fast when he does these 30-second drawings and other things. We did a few together this past year, and I feel like the ones that I did were just so garbage. They look nothing like what I draw like. That was me like stressing like it's like a game of Pictionary. This is the stuff you bust out to like I'm putting cave paintings down basically. And that was interesting to see his content. Still really fun. I'm a team player. That's something I'm also going to be doing more of this year. Is being more playful, doing different things. Uh, Even though I got to make myself do things, I'm going to make myself do it while being silly. So, be silly in your everyday life. Um, Now we're coming to a close on this final episode. Not much has really been discussed, but I just want to reflect on this first season of ARTBOX and how far we've come, learning things with each upload, affecting more artists uh, in ways that I hadn't anticipated. I knew I wanted it to be educational. I guess I didn't know people would listen, and it's created memorable moments for me. Just learning learning curves and getting to know these people more than I thought I would has been a really fun ride. Made some really good friends out of this podcast, and I'm hoping to make more friends, honestly. Um, I do have a list of future guests that I want to get on, and maybe I'll put them on the screen now. I don't know if I want to put that out there, but if you see or know somebody you like that you would want me to interview or have as a guest, because that's kind of what it is. It's a little bit of a presentation together, but they're also being interviewed. So if you know anybody that you would like to be on the show, write them in the comments, send us a message. Over the past season, we have talked about art We have talked about what it's like to try and make art with having kids. We've talked about Ernest Scared Stupid. We have talked about conspiracy theories. We've talked about wacky cheese facts. We got to bring the wacky cheese facts back. I got to write that down in the notes, man. Got to be playful this year. Wacky cheese facts where it's at. Um, Man, yeah, it was a good first season, and I'm looking forward to the next season. I want to thank all of you listeners for your kind words, and I can never have too many of them, so just keep sending. If you if you have any suggestions, let me know. Um, I might not be able to do anything about it, but let me know, man. um, I'm very optimistic for this year, 2026. I need to, need to lock in. That's the phrase we're all seeing, locking it in. There's New Year's resolutions. I kind of have a couple of them. Some of them are the same ones I had last year. Health, creativity, and stability. It's the main things. Maybe just health and stability. Creativity, I think that's easy. Second nature to me. It's not even second nature, that's first nature. We all got this in us. So we can all do this. Each year, we get a little further and a little better at creating. And we also get better at becoming better people. So, what's next for me? I have more art videos coming out, and I've talked about it a few times. I got books that I'm working on at some point, and I don't really know what film projects I'll be working on next, whether it'll be something of my originality or someone else's. Um, we'll just have to wait and see. I do have I don't want to say I haven't filmed things because I have filmed things that are for the purpose of maybe a future documentary. I'm not gonna freaking beat the dead horses. I might do a third documentary and then cap it there. Who knows? Who knows? It's weird making documentaries about yourself. I've seen a lot of patterns. Um, I've seen a lot of good things too, though. So I wanna, I wanna see if I can end that on a good note. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's coming up. More projects, more paintings. I have collaborations in effect. I'm talking to more creators, so maybe I'll be doing more stuff here on YouTube with other people. You'll just have to tune in and see. Don't forget to subscribe to the Creative Jargon channel to find out. Um, I'm not doing another yearly reset. That's a structured guide that I've put out, I think 2 years ago at this point. I've filled it out 2 years in a row, and both times I've only completed like 50% of it. It's a huge task, anyways, because you can't really grade how hard a project is from 1 to 3 stars. If you watch the video, you'll see, or if you have the guide, which is free in the video description. It's so hard to grade things like that. So when it came to, oh, I'm on the documentary's coming up, that took 6 months. And I thought since I had it filmed, I would only be taking like 2 months to edit the movie and get it done. But it turns out I wanted to do extra scenes and add a narrative and get other creators involved. I had no idea people were actually going to say yes. So it took a little longer too. But I also set the date for the showings before the movie was done. So the final export is the final export, and I finally got it done when it was time. But yeah, it's just so hard to predict some of those things in advance in a year. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And I think that lines up with how taxes and quarterly stuff works for creatives or, solo entrepreneurs is to maybe go at a quarterly schedule of projects. If you're scheduling your projects like this, and maybe not grade them friend on difficulty. They need to they need to be just actualized in a sense, I guess. You need to know what it's going to be and maybe not overload it because a painting can be done in one day and a film takes 6 months to edit by yourself. So, uh yeah, if you're a creative having a hard time with that, maybe try to follow the quarterly planning. The next season of ARTBOX. I've already mentioned some of the like possible guests I might want to have on. Some reoccurring guests, of course. We might have Austin and Vinny back. They're always welcome. Boogie, he's welcome back. Kyle, we've had him on twice already. But definitely looking towards some new creators as well. Getting branching out and getting familiar with different kinds of artists. Like I want to get a graffiti artist on here. I want to get maybe a crafter on here or something like that. There's just so many different ways that you can go about this. I mean, we've already had collage animators. So I'm looking forward to the next season of Marbox. I do not know when it's going to come out, but if this is any evidence, hopefully I will have that season out within the next few months. Gosh, I really hate saying that's enough. Yeah, maybe I just need to stop saying that stuff. I need to stop schedule like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna have this done in 2 months," and you can look forward to that. I try not to do that, but I've been slipping. So just look forward to it. It'll be this year. I know that. I can say that. The next season of Artbox will be started this year. With that, I would like to close out the episode by saying follow Artbox here on Creative Jargon's YouTube channel. You can follow Creative Jargon on Facebook, Dr. T. Neal on Instagram, and now on Patreon. I put all of the Creative Jargon behind the scenes and all of the Dr. T. Neal behind the scenes and all of the Artbox behind the scenes on the Dr. T. Neal Patreon. Anything I work on will be there. Any thoughts I have will be there. Any BTS will be there, which I will have a video for the movie showings. That'll be on there soon. And a portion of it will be on the YouTube channel for free. But then the longer one will probably be for the viewers on Patreon. The paid tier that I have is only $3. Other than that, there's also free stuff on there. So I load it with free stuff and paid stuff. So there's reasons to check out. And if you want to support the channel, you want to support this show, or if you just want to support me, so you can find all of that on the Dr. T. Neal Patreon. And with that, that is the end of season 1. Stay creative, folks.